All right, good afternoon. I want to start out today, if you guys don't mind, and just announce our 2024 team captains voted on by the players. We've got Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus, and Harrison Phillips on the defensive side, Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold, Brian O'Neill, CJ Ham on the offensive side, and then Andrew DePaula for the special teams unit. Hopefully you guys get a chance to see what we're going to do, a new display that we're going to have to honor Jim Marshall, who was a 14-time captain, one of the greatest, captains in for sure the history of our organization, but I believe in the NFL as well. A great way to honor him and just continue to highlight the great history of our organization and make sure our players not only understand that on a daily basis around here, but I know our fan base certainly does already, but it's a great way to do that. So we will have the Jim Marshall Vikings captain legacy wall down right where the players enter the building. We'll take you guys down there and let you see it. And take a look at that. But we're really proud of it. It'll have this year's captain's photo along with a photo of Jim and a little bio. And then it will also list every captain in the history of the Minnesota Vikings there as well. So really cool, something that I was really excited about when I heard that we had those plans, and I'm excited to announce that. Game week, moving, feels like we've talked a lot about the lead up, the process, things building our football team, but I'm very, very excited to have the game week upon us, and our team is already off to a great start with our preparation, but heck of a challenge going on the road in week one. Expecting a great environment there at MetLife, and we got to be ready to go.
How's Jordan Addison doing, and what are you expecting from him this week?
Yeah, he's doing better, and he was limited really on Monday and moved around quite well. He'll do a little more today, and then we'd like to kind of progress him hopefully to full by the end of the week. But I think Jordan's in a good spot, and I feel pretty good about him making the game.
Yeah, it looked like he was taking a day.
Yeah, he's a couple days behind Jordan, but I think he's progressing really well, and hope to give you guys an update on that a little later in the week. But I feel really good about where Jalen's at, and off the training camp he had a lot of work with that first group, and being able to be out there with that group would be big for us.
What does he have?
Ankle. They both have ankles. Yeah, sorry.
From practice or when
it was from practice.
And when it comes to Josh Metellus, what do you think makes him stand out so much as a player? I mean, at this time last year, we weren't even sure how much he was going to play.
Yeah.
Now he's become such a key part of this defense.
I think when I think about Josh, we make a lot out of his fit in our defense, and that's great and all, but Josh is just a really good football player. He's a really good safety. He's a really good tackler. He's a really good cover player, versatile to do a lot of different things, off the charts from a football smarts standpoint, how he communicates with Cam and Harry and the rest of the defense, the ability to play so many parts in the defense. That's where, I just don't want to get lost in the system fit and the scheme fit of just what a really good football player Josh is, and continues to, really grow within the leadership world. I mean, almost unanimous captain, a guy that, people really look to set the tone every day in our building. But yeah, he had a great year last year, and I'm expecting the same out of him again this year.
Can you describe the challenge that this front presents?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they go out and add, another premier edge player. Got a ton of respect for Burns, and then, Noah Thibodeau on the other side has been a player that's really just continues to ascend, and you can see it all over the tape of his first-round ability and what he's kind of grown into. There's no question, their defense is very strong on the front, and, you have to, when you mention those two guys, you have to mention Lawrence in the middle. Going back a couple years ago, just remember how much of an impact he was, and I think their linebackers are really good, and I think they, have a really versatile secondary to play a lot of different ways and coverages. So it really all works together. We got a chance to practice against Tennessee when they came in here, when Shane was their D coordinator for Vrabes, and just thought they were really well coached. really tough, ran to the ball, did all the little things that make it hard to play against defenses that do those things in this league. And I think he's really good from a scheme standpoint. So we have our work cut out for us for sure. Of going on the road with the obviously element of noise and all those things. We've got to practice and prepare for it, and then make a lot of the things that we've worked on come to life.
Kevin, how much do you use those joint practices as kind of a template for what you expect from the Giants, knowing that it's the same coordinator, but then maybe on
I think it's totally different team. It's totally different personnel. They'd obviously had a lot of success there defensively, and he had a ton to do with it. I think that's what led him to getting a great op with Dabes there in New York. And so we have to, obviously do every turnover, every stone we can. But I think we're going to have to, trust in our plan, trust in owning our own plan, and then, we have some experience, just whether it's coverages or things like that, to Justin, of adapting and evolving throughout a game. But certainly something that we're going to need to do right off the bat.
What do you want to see or expect to see from Sam early in the season?
Yeah, I mean, what I want to see and expect to see is what he's done just daily basis for our team, how he's prepared from really when he first got here all the way through a full training camp. I think he's really confident. I think his teammates are really confident in him, not only just the physical side of things from throwing the ball and his ability to be accurate, his ability to push the ball downfield, make great decisions within the rhythm and timing of the play. But I think it's just that comfort of the work he's put in, and really, I say this a lot, but the 2024 offense is this year's version of our offense. It might look different, it might look similar. We've got a lot of things we're really excited about, a lot of players we're really excited about, and Sam is certainly one of them. But I expect him to go out and just execute the offense and play well. And with his skill set, I think Sam's going to be in a good spot.
The games you played against the Giants in 2022, are those at all helpful in the game planning?
I think so, just because you at least know. I have a ton of respect for Dabes as a head coach in this league, and he's not just a offensive guy. He's had a great ownership of that whole team. So I think his impact on how they've played previously against us, could show up a little bit. But at the same time, a lot of the players, when you talk about Dexter Lawrence, you talk about Thibodeau, you talk about Adoree Jackson, and some of these guys that we've played against in that uniform, in that albeit a different scheme, but X's and O's aside, personnel still matters, and we've got to be prepared to play a bunch of really good players on Sunday.
Kevin, you've talked about Justin's leadership and how serious he takes that.
Yep.
How much do you think that was reflected in the way he handled himself through the contract negotiations and just kind of keeping things private?
Yeah, I just, I can't stress enough the growth that I've seen from him, on the field has been, an unbelievable start to his career. These years that he's really stepped on the grass and immediately, showed up as one of the best players at his position. But I think he loves being a Minnesota Viking. I know I love our relationship that we have, and my ability to, have Justin be a major resource for me to reach the football team through that relationship, and just my trust level in him of doing the things that he needs to do to lead our group. That receiver room is one thing, but just our offense and just the standard we want to have, it's easy to rely on Justin to do that because he's got such an incredibly high standard for himself. And it's, I'm really proud of the way, he's handled a lot of things, whether it was going back to the adversity he personally dealt with last year with the injury, how he came back from that. The business side of things is always going to be part of the National Football League, but we try to build something around here that kind of transcends that. Hopefully in every situation, it's not always possible, but how he handled that, I think his teammates were watching everything with Justin. They always are, and he knows that.
Have the events that have gone on with the Bengals also influenced more of what a team guy? Because he could have done the same thing. Not for you to talk about Jamar, but he could have easily said, "I'm not playing until I get a new contract." He didn't say that. He certainly goes against what seems like the typical wide receiver mold.
Yeah, I can't really speak. I being honest, I don't really know much about that situation. Maybe if we hadn't got that deal done with Justin and be as excited as I was about it. Maybe I would be, monitoring some of those things a little closer. But yeah, I can just say he had, every option of how, people can handle those situations. And there's times during the type of dialogue that I have with players that conversations get real, and I wouldn't want it to be any other way. But I think, and I hope at the end of all this, Justin has known since day one that I got his back, and I'm always going to try to help him be the best version of himself, grow as a leader, grow as a major part of this organization. And I think that's something, as long as you consistently do that with your players, from Justin Jefferson to every guy on our practice squad, my hope is they'll respond to the way we do things, and good things are going to happen, and people are going to treat each other right, respectfully, and the right kind of decisions and process will lead to really good outcomes, which that was a great outcome for the Minnesota Vikings.
How much familiarity is there with Deonte Banks going back to the 23 draft?
Yeah, I remember studying him coming out and meeting with him. Can't remember if it was at the Combine or here on a 30 visit. We really talented player, super competitive. That's the one thing that always jumped out to me, is just how competitive and how much he wanted, that matchup, or wanted to be able to, go compete right at the line of scrimmage against people. And physically, he runs really well. He's strong. He's a good tackler. I think he's really an ascending player in our league, and he showed that last year for sure.
What's your plan for McCarthy as the season starts? I'm sure he's not going to go to this game, but is he going to be at the home games? Do you want him in a certain place on the sideline when he's off the scooter? What's that plan?
I think I'll defer to the medical folks only so far in regards to that, because I want him. I want to see him. I want his teammates to see him every day. I want him in meetings. I'm going to meet with him personally one day a week, and make sure that I can be personally challenging him on his ownership of the game plans, the why behind things we're doing, play intent for me, making sure he's still having a major role leadership-wise with especially that young rookie class that, between undrafted guys and guys we drafted, feel very strong about their impact on our team. But I want JJ to feel like he's a support system for Sam, part of the quarterback room, that culture of that quarterback room, but at the same time, bigger picture, making sure we don't waste one moment where, there could be some growth and development and really continue the positive momentum that I think a lot of us saw in training camp before the injury.
Blake Cashman good to go after that finger?
Yeah, he's good to go. He, he had a pinky that kind of happened there, and I think he's been wearing, something very small on it. How long that stays on, I don't know, because once they told me Blake's good to go, I'm not overly concerned about what contraption he has on his pinky, but I will say, very much, I've felt the addition of Blake, all jokes aside, and he's been phenomenal for us, and expect that to show up on Sunday.
Kevin, when you were in Los Angeles, it was mostly 11 personnel.
Yep.
Now the personnel group here with the fullback, 2 tight ends who can play. I guess how much different is that from your standpoint of scheming and trying to use those players in different ways than you would from the 11 personnel?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's one I've thought about because I value so much the ability to have some personnel versatility on how you call a game. But yeah, we were so driven in that world. Sometimes just from a simple preparation standpoint, you get into the week in and week out of a season. If you've got to watch, multiple personnel groupings, that takes time away from honing in on maybe an extra detail in this grouping or that grouping. So it's really kind of just changed the way I go about the week. It changed the way as we've kind of evolved and tried to do some things with our run game, learning, different ways of not only doing that, but then how does that affect the pass game and the ability to marry it all up. So I think we're growing and have grown over the period of time that I've been here, and we've tried to be more versatile from a personnel standpoint. But it is something, especially as a play caller, you adjust to and try to figure out you're only going to get so many ops. You only get so many plays. You can have every play in the world you want, on the call sheet, but in the end you're going to get this many normal down, first and second down calls, you're going to get this many third downs, you're going to get this many red zone chances, and then your 2-minute. But those in total, normally average about 60 to 70 plays any given week, and you got to make sure your focus is not being slighted in any one area, especially as the play caller.
Just to follow up, does that, for opponents, it seems like the league is mostly an 11 personnel league.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it causes defenses sort of more preparation that's different when they know that you can use different personnel than they're usually seeing?
Yeah, I think you just want to make sure if I'm doing it, they got to do it type of thing. And then they got to evaluate how we do things compared to maybe other teams they're more or less 21 or 12 or 13 or whatever it is. And then, if sometimes it's hard for us if they haven't seen. That's where you really see it. If they haven't seen a team that wants to play like that, you're searching for your clips, and you're really trying to evaluate how things will carry over. And then there's no rule that says they got to play exactly the way they did on any one particular game or snap. So you got to be ready to evolve. You got to have a system where you can identify things. You got to have a system where all 11 guys, regardless of what the defense does, can have a clear-cut plan of how they want to play out each play. And then, where it goes from there is kind of an in-game fun side of it for me.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.